We got another death battle, Renzo gang. And this is an old one. I had to take it back a little bit. This one right here is James Bond versus John Wick death battle. Yeah, you heard me correctly. James Bond, John Wick. Now, this one came out about 3 years ago, and I missed this one. Like I said, it's a lot more death battles that I did miss. So I might do some more death battles leading up to the new one that's going to be coming out in a few weeks. But John Wick and James Bond. Personally, I like John Wick better than James Bond. Like I said before, like as I did a James Bond gameplay reaction, I'm more so of the John Wick than I am James Bond. Just like I wasn't big on, the 007, well, especially the new 007s. I wasn't big on that. It's like I'm not really big on the Mission Impossibles like that, nor am I big on the Bourne, franchise. I feel like some of these, spy movies are a little overrated, and it's not all that like I thought. But you know, I'm Team John Wick. I'm sorry, I'm Team John Wick. Whether he win or lose, I'm Team John Wick. So with that being said, Renzo gang, we just gonna dive on into this death battle, and I know you guys love these death battles. I know y'all do. And if there's any more death battles that I haven't seen or you may not have seen and that you want me to request to react to, just comment down below and let me know which death battle you want to see next. Because there's a lot of death battles out there, and it's some other somewhat like death battles that they have out there. Like they have Tommy Oliver. For those that don't know, he's the first ever Green Ranger, Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin. They have him versus Ryu, and they have him also as the White Ranger versus Scorpion. And I have seen those, but it'll be hard for me to react to those. But even if you want me to react to those, I'll still do it, even though I've seen those. I've seen those before Death Battles even came out. And they have a lot of, other things besides Death Battles. If you guys want to react to those, just let me know, and I'll get to them. But right now, we're going to dive on into this death battle. James Bond versus John Wick. Let's get it. Team John Wick. Win or lose.
This episode is sponsored by Babbel and Mint Mobile. James Bond, the world-famous secret agent 007.
John Wick, the legendary hitman who did the impossible.
Whether they fly solo or operate on behalf of the government, the world is filled with professional killers of all shapes and sizes.
But which one of cinema's super assassins is packing Parabellum, and which one will live to die another day? He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons,
See,
armor,
Pierce
and skills to
Brosnan
find out who would
James
win
Bond,
a
even though he
death
went
battle.
first one. He's the one I grew up on.
From
So you got Sean Connery, he was the first James Bond. Then you had Pierce Brosnan. That's the one I grew up on, GoldenEye 007. And then you got Daniel Craig. See, I grew up on Pierce Brosnan. I grew up on GoldenEye 007. The multiplayer, yeah, that's the one I grew up on. Anyway, let's dive back into it.
the shores of Crab Key to the crap stables of Casino Royale, from Russia with Love to Moonraker at the edge of outer space, no man has saved the world more times than Bond.
James Bond. He's the OG action hero, the slickest Scot there ever was, the coldest warrior of the swingin' 60s.
After a climbing accident in the French Alps took his parents, the young James studied abroad and graduated to the Ministry of Defense, just in time for World War II.
He rose through the ranks, quickly becoming a commander of the Royal Navy. And when you find the thing you're good at, in his case wanting murder, never do it for free.
So, after the war, James decided on Her Majesty's Secret Service and became a special agent of MI6. And they were so impressed, he was given his first 2 state-sanctioned assassinations. With this baptism in blood, Bond was granted the legendary 00 status and a license to kill with impunity.
As the premier defender of the West, Agent 007 is a jack of all trades when it comes to kicking commie ass and terrorist ass, and basically everyone's ass for the past 60 years. From the novels to the movies to the comics and games, he's been rebooted tons of times, but they're all still Bond.
Bond is a master of infiltration, disguise, acrobatics, driving, diving, skiing, boating, climbing, horseback riding,
He wasn't really the
airplane
best fighter,
pilot,
I'm gonna say
swordsman,
that.
knife fighter, knife thrower, people thrower.
And deadliest of all, gamer.
I don't know, Pierce Brosnan, he was never the best fighter out of the James Bond. That's one thing he lacked on, but he was probably the most smoothest James Bond out there. Like James Bond is very smooth and he's a ladies man. See Daniel Craig, like when it comes to James Bond, Daniel Craig's James Bond was the most physical one. Pierce Brosnan was like the ladies man, and Sean Connery, I don't know because I didn't. I mean that's old, so of course I ain't going back watching that. And that was boring. So that's the thing I can say that John Wick has over James Bond so far is the physicality and the martial arts. So yeah.
Bond carries his classic Walter PPK, among the world's first successful double-action semi-automatic pistols. While it only carries 9 rounds, its small size makes it optimal for concealment.
And a microdermal sensor in the grip coated to Bond's fingerprint means only he can fire it.
It even comes with unique ammo that breaks apart upon entry and creates 8 exit wounds, traveling like a bullet but hitting like a shotgun.
Especially deadly considering Bond has the golden eye of an expert marksman, able to take out a room of armed guards in a single second, or shoot the fuel tank of a helicopter from a speeding boat a quarter of a mile away.
He's just as deadly disarmed. Bond combines multiple martial arts like judo, boxing, Krav Maga, Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu, allowing him to keep up even when outnumbered.
This mix of styles is likely the Welsh self-defense system known as Goshinkwai, which is taught by the modern Special Air Service.
Though that all pales in comparison to his greatest ability. F***ing banging, laying down pipe.
Bond was
He's so
lazy.
proficient at seduction, it actually feels more like a superpower.
Look, we're not kidding. He once seduced a female assassin sent to kill him so thoroughly, she threw herself in front of the bullet meant for him. She knew him for less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes Bond does stuff I can only describe as
He had that
superhero
Riz
shit.
before
Look at
Riz
this.
was risen.
So why not follow that impulse and give him some superhero gadgets too?
Developed by MI6's resident quartermaster, Q, Bond's spy gadgetry often complements his knack for problem solving and quick thinking.
He's got a pen that'll explode after 3 clicks and disarm after a 4th, an Omega Seamaster watch that can shoot a laser beam, a cigarette that fires a miniature rocket, and C4 toothpaste that can be remotely detonated. Probably a safer bet than that pen, especially if you're a compulsive clicker like me. Wait, was I on 3 or 4?
He also occasionally wears a lightweight bulletproof vest, as well as a garrote wire for quiet kills and a grappling hook hidden within his belt buckle.
That's only the semi-normal shit. He's carried earbuds that give him super hearing, X-ray shades, ultrasonic cufflink grenades, a stun gas keychain, a cell phone taser,
I'm gonna be honest
exploding
with you.
remote.
James Bond so far he's got more technology gear than John Wick does, so that's what's gonna give him the advantage. You know, whenever this does happen, he's gonna give John. That's gonna give him the advantage over John Wick.
Controlled drones, a nanosuit that turns him completely invisible, and a frigging jetpack. You've gotta have a
He's
hell
got
of a
way
pair
more
of
technology
thunderballs to
than John
piss off a crazy Scot riding one of those.
But his greatest weapon is the one, the only,
His dick!
the Aston Martin DB5.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about him.
Aston Martin.
Never mind. This absolute beauty isn't just good looks. She's packing front-mounted machine guns, oil slicks, smoke screens, and of course, the ejector seat. Oh, and good luck trying to break in. This baby is insanely bulletproof. Like, just look at this. It won't stop. Still going. Still going.
Q has provided numerous vehicles over the years with ever more insane features, like a submarine transformation, light-bending holograms, and a remote control built into Bond's phone.
He's got
Ah,
way
just
more
look at him,
technology
living
than
his
John
best
Wick.
life.
That's really
And why
gonna give
wouldn't
him
he?
the
He's a
advantage over John
globe-trotting
Wick.
ladies' man with the UK Treasury as his personal credit card. He's got the world in the palm of his hand.
But for some, the world is not enough. Though Bond's iterations may vary, one thing remains throughout. Behind that
Shout out to Bray
debonair
Wyatt.
smile and
R.I.P.
British
Bray
wit
Wyatt.
is a broken, soulless shell. A man only good for killing.
I guess it's no surprise that a
I honestly would have expected a James Bond versus Ethan Hunt death battle, not James Bond and John Wick. It would have been better if y'all to put James Bond and Ethan Hunt, in the death battle together instead of, John Wick. But I mean, I ain't mad at it though. Now, if it was John Wick, if it was James Bond and Ethan Hunt, I'd definitely choose James Bond. I was not a fan of Mission Impossible like that. I really wasn't. I never was a fan of Mission Impossible or Ethan Hunt.
Dude who smokes up to 70 cigarettes a day and routinely drinks enough to enter a coma might have a death wish.
Now, James wasn't always like this. Not long after getting his 00, he found love, and loved so much he left the Secret Service behind.
But there are some lives you can't escape, and some lives you can't save, no matter how hard you try. Sometimes all that's left is to kill the love inside you until all that matters is revenge.
There's no denying Bond's psychopathic tendencies. He's killed hundreds of enemy combatants over his career and might just enjoy the act of torture.
But what makes me respect him is he never forgets a pun afterward.
All that hate and regret wrapped up into one man with nothing to live for. The perfect assassin for a dying empire.
Bond is strong enough to hold his own against superhuman henchmen like Oddjob and Jaws, who can lift a van off the ground.
He survived being blasted by a Stinger missile, falling hundreds of feet into a river, and having his eggs scrambled.
At his best, he's even fast enough to dodge gunfire nearly point blank, and missiles, while in free fall, and still shoot people. This is the superhero shit we were talking about.
Time and time again, he's outsmarted criminal masterminds like Dr. No, Goldfinger, and Scaramanga, the man with the golden gun. He's even bested the worst of them all, his arch nemesis, the international terrorist, Blofeld.
In 2 different timelines, no less. And plot twist, in the second, Blofeld was Bond's long-lost adopted brother. Which, if I recall correctly, also happened in Austin Powers. But that's why we love the old Scottish sewing.
I don't mean to keep pausing this, but years later, I didn't notice that Austin Powers really was a parody to James Bond. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So, who else could escape a giant space laser by kite surfing on a tsunami? What more can we say about 007? He's got the best job in the business, and nobody does it better.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Babbel.
It's days like these I wish I could sail the French Riviera, speaking French with the locals. Spanish would be nice too.
And subscriptions.
Thanks to Babbel's addictively
Learning journey today.
Right now, get up to 55%.
Beat him senseless, steal his car, and kill his dog.
The dog his beloved wife gifted him after she died very recently. So yeah, pretty big mistake.
Boy, that made me
and
so
this
mad.
man, well, he just happens to be the single deadliest assassin in the entire world.
He may be called Baba Yaga, but he's not the boogeyman. He's the one you sent to kill the goddamn boogeyman, John Wick. So yeah, that's one pretty huge mistake.
The full story of this specter is almost non-existent, but rumor has it he was trained by the Ruskaroma crime syndicate from a young age, before moving to America and making a name for himself in its criminal underworld.
Terrifying enough to scare the living daylights out of even the most hardened murderers.
Wick is a master martial artist, combining several schools into an all-purpose fighting style that focuses on maximum efficiency with minimal effort.
Almost no one who has fought him directly has lived to tell the tale. So which specific forms he practices are for his eyes only. So why don't we look at the martial arts used to prepare for the movies by everyone's favorite immortal, Keanu Reeves.
Reeves combines Sambo, Aikido, Judo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for defensive joint locks, throws, and wrestling moves to avoid as much damage to himself as possible while using his opponent's own weight against them.
Though his go-to is Krav Maga, which is designed to take all the best moves from various martial arts to make the ultimate fighting style.
While most martial arts are designed with other purposes in mind, like exercise, Krav Maga's entire goal is basically murder.
And boy, if that isn't Wick to a T. In his hands, literally anything can be a deadly weapon. Knives, swords, books, his belt. Shit, he once took out 3 guys with a pencil. A number 2 pencil. And thanks to John's precise understanding of the human body, he can target weak points and vital organs with ease.
But thanks to the Continental, he doesn't have to rely on writing utensils to execute his victims.
Imagine a chain of hotels around the world that serve as a front for a whole underground society of assassins. He can consult the wine steward's robust selection.
Pistols, revolvers, submachine guns, assault rifles, shotgun, plastic explosives, it's all on the menu.
Though Wick prefers his Heckler & Koch P30L, a polymer-framed semi-automatic handgun that holds 15 rounds of 9x19 parabellum.
Which he wields like an artist does a paintbrush. Wick can empty entire rooms full of enemies before they can blink, once even taking out 7 armed guards in only 3 seconds.
He's the definition of accurate, almost never missing a shot, and that includes on horseback and motorcycle back. If he's got a view to a kill,
he
you
only
can
had
bet
9
he's taking it.
fingers.
And he comes literally dressed to kill with his perfectly tailored, tactically lined suit jacket that is completely bulletproof. Even repeated gunshots from close range do nothing to him.
It also helps him blend into the shadows for some sick stealth kills, and even disappear in plain sight like the goddamn Batman.
Wick eventually joined the Tarasov mob and quickly became one of their top enforcers, a grim reaper who hunted their enemies with divine prejudice.
But maybe this angel of death was more human than we
That
first
makes him
thought.
terrifying.
After years of being a badass, Wick wanted out of the mob to get married to the love of his life and retire. Wow, I wonder how that first date conversation went. Man, she must have really fallen for him. I guess he put the ass in assassin.
So his boss gave him an impossible task. He could leave
impossible
if he wiped out every last one of the mob's enemies in a single night. Which he did, because human or no, he's still John Wick.
Stop clicking that pen.
And he lived happily ever after. Well, until his former boss's snot-nosed son screwed up. Like, really badly. Great job, Theon. You never miss.
That
Boy, he
wasn't
was
just
mad at
some
his son.
dog, but a semblance of hope. The opportunity to grieve unalone, his last tether to a happy life. So Wick was back with a vengeance, prepared to kill every last person that got in his way until the whole of New York's criminal underworld had been razed by his bloody crusade. Over the course of the 3 movies, which span only about 2 weeks, Wick left over 300 bodies in his wake.
Wait a minute, 2
3?
weeks? Dang, so the first 3 John Wick movies was literally within 2 weeks. That's crazy. And then he between I think the 3rd and the 4th one, that's when they did the ballerina movie. That was a spinoff. And wow. John Wick was dropping bodies.
100. Running into him is like seeing the sky fall. You're going to die. There's no escape. He survived being stabbed, rammed by cars, shot in the stomach, blown up, mutilated, and knocked off of a 10-story building. All within a fortnight.
Oh, and somewhere in there he found the energy to trek through the Saharan desert. And it's not like his injuries from the previous movie had time to heal, or the ones from the movie before that.
We cannot emphasize this enough. John Wick is unstoppable.
He's strong enough to toss around full-grown men, snap bone, and body slam 2 assassins through a bulletproof
And the
glass
crazy thing
floor.
is,
Wick absolutely
pretty much in all
annihilated
those
his
movies,
former
and he still
Tarasov
dropped
employers,
bodies.
the Neapolitan crime family, Kimura, and fended off an international army of assassins attacking him at random, one after the other, every few minutes.
Even
yeah,
after being
awful
declared
life.
excommunicado by the
Good lord.
Continental, bereft of his former resources, he killed every last soldier sent after him by the High Table.
With barely a quantum of solace to rest.
high
Like
table.
we said, completely unstoppable. Outgunned, outmanned, it doesn't matter. John Wick lost everything in the world that meant anything to him, and that means he won't stop killing until there's no one left, or he dies trying. And good freaking luck with that.
And the 4th
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Mint Mobile,
Donnie's character.
After years of fighting.
Kane.
company to sell wireless service.
Yeah,
All right, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's no time to die for a death battle!
Is not one to be taken lightly. Be careful, 007. And happy hunting.
Your concern is always touching, Q. Vodka martini, shaken, not stirred. What can I get you, mate? Drinks are on me.
I prefer to be alone.
Unfortunately, I wasn't asking, Baba Yaga. Now you can come with me, or we can do this here.
Killing isn't permitted on company grounds.
Lucky me. Seems you've got me at a disadvantage. You won't mind giving a dead man walking one last smoke?
What does MI6 want with me?
Your reputation precedes you. I'll be sure to keep up.
No, you won't.
Suplex. James Bond got more gadgets and technology than John Wick does.
To be entirely honest, I lost count. What comes around goes around, as they say.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bond, come in. What's the mission status?
Smashing. Positively smashing.
Oh, do grow up, 007.
Yeah. Still Team John.
I never thought Wick could lose, but I guess I'll never say never again. Though his skills and brutal tenacity would have saved Wick initially, against James Bond, you only live twice.
You mean once, right?
I know what I said.
Uh-huh. Well, despite all that, Wick met his match in Agent 007.
And match is the optimal word here. Wick may have been an expert martial artist, but Bond has actually practiced several of the same styles Wick has, and has been shown to be just as skilled a fighter, even defeating master martial artist himself.
Wick's ability to shatter a floor of bulletproof glass definitely makes him superhumanly strong, but Bond has fought off similarly powerful henchmen in the past.
And while Wick's speed and accuracy with the gun may look unbeatable, Bond's is just as impressive.
He's landed accurate shots just as well as Wick ever has, but more importantly, he has a faster quick draw.
That's right, despite being played by Neo himself, Wick has never dodged bullets. Bond, on the other hand, has, and that superior speed gave him an edge in both close-quarter combat and on the draw.
Though since both had body armor, the fight probably wasn't going to be won by guns alone. And that's where Bond held his biggest advantage, his gadgets.
There was no way Wick would
If
see
he
an
didn't have gadgets, he
exploding
probably
pen or a
lost.
laser watch coming, and that's the whole point of Bond's gadgets. They're seemingly normal, everyday objects that'll take his enemy by surprise.
Given time, Bond has always
been
used these to
tortured
come
more
up with
than John
game-winning
Wick.
strategies, even against numerically superior foes, especially with his more absurd technology like the invisible nanosuit and remote-controlled explosive drones.
Wick's endurance might be mind-blowing, but he isn't invincible.
He can keep fighting even on death's door, but the deadliness of Bond's trick weapons would not have given him that option.
Diamonds are forever, but against someone just as skilled with an arsenal straight out of science fiction, Wick's luck definitely wasn't. Bond may have been the spy who loved me, but against Wick, he was going to live and let die. And you can bet tomorrow never dies. Nailed it. Look, I just had to fit the last few movies in, okay? Oh, wait, shit, I forgot about Octopussy.
The winner is Bond. James Bond.
Okay, Renzo gang, that was the John Wick James Bond death battle. Like I said, I'm still team John Wick. I was never really big on the 007s like that, especially after Pierce Brosnan, but it is what it is. He had more technology. That's how he beat John Wick, obviously. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought. If you want some more death battles, just spam them comments down below, Renzo gang. You feel me? I love y'all, and I will see y'all next time. Yeah.